Everybody deserves good design. Now, that's a very lofty title. But I know that we all agree that design has the potential to address inequities and inequalities in our built environment that's been perpetuated by the current systems that we have. When Jennifer and I agreed on this title, I thought it made complete sense. But I'm in a place, and I'm surely there's more of us here, where today I'm questioning the role of design, especially in the context of all the conflicts and natural disasters that are unfolding in the world today. Sorry, man-made disasters, not natural disasters. What does it really mean for people like us to step up and be a part of the counterforce or the counterculture to the current practices and systems that continue to push large sections of the populations further into the margins? What do we need to do? Or rather, what we better not do? In the face of these intractable large-scale problems, I've found a little corner of respite in Adrienne Maree Brown's concept of emergent strategy, which emphasizes the power of small-scale actions and relationships as drivers of larger systemic changes. A seemingly simple idea that deep system change starts with shaping the smallest patterns of our daily lives. What has become very clear to me is that while it is necessary to go after our moonshots, define them, we need to give equal, if not more importance, to set out multi-generational roadmaps, charting pathways through simple actions that have the potential to trigger significant shifts towards equity. The operative word being actions. By that I mean building millions of solutions, not just talking about solutions or writing about them, or building platforms to talk and write about what solutions could work. It is with these ideas driving my thought process these days that I would like to share stories from one community where an emergent approach is leading to transformational changes. I would like to start with Parveen's story, an incredible community leader who was born and raised on a pavement in Mumbai. She gave birth to her 2 sons while living on the pavement. She now lives in housing provided by the city. And we've been working together for the last 8 years in transforming her neighborhood. When asked how she felt walking into her new apartment, all of only 226 square feet space, she said she and her husband went to look for the toilet first. And it's understandable because as someone who previously used the sides of the railway tracks, the relief is hard to quantify. However, her next revelation was even more poignant. Parveen was elated not only that she had access to safe sanitation, but that she could now eat food anytime that she wanted. She no longer had to time her meals to ensure that she could use the sides of the railway tracks only at night or at dawn, which she kind of had to do for like nearly 30 years of her life. And a lot of people in India continue to do that even to this day. And you can imagine the type of toilets one can expect in a mere 226 square feet apartment. And that a space so basic to survival can have such far-reaching impact will remain somewhat unfathomable, even if I were to spend an entire lifetime in this community. To provide some context, one moment. Okay, that's right. It is here that we see possibilities. It is these lived experiences that motivate and drive my team to co-design and co-create spaces that are aspirational, that have the potential to enable thriving. To provide some context, Parveen's neighborhood is located in what's called Mumbai's M East ward. Cities in India are divided into wards for ease of governance. Just a short 30-minute drive from the wealthiest business district in Mumbai. This area has been deeply affected by its surroundings, specifically its proximity to Asia's largest dumping ground. News articles highlighting the dire living conditions here are no surprise. And given the urban density, which far exceeds the recommendation by the World Health Organization, it exceeds it by tenfold. And the average life expectancy here is 39 years, which is half the national average in India. Parveen lives in this, what's the point? Oh, this is the area, yeah. This is the area. Parveen lives with her family in this overcrowded section of the city, one of several resettlement housing built for former slum and pavement dwellers in Mumbai, displaced by large infrastructure works undertaken by the city. With the highest tuberculosis rate in the city, 25,000 people are crammed into 61 congested buildings, with nearly 80% of the apartments not receiving natural light or ventilation. The limited open spaces, accounting for just 18% of the total site area, make up for garbage-filled alleys and underutilized public spaces. Children have no spaces to play and just be children in, and there's definitely no room for adults for recreation or for even being outside. Being uprooted from homes that have been built over decades, even if they were slums, and moved to an area where the residents have no choice or agency on where and how they live, it is a monumental challenge to foster a sense of ownership and belonging. In fact, many accounts describe harsh realities that were encountered when the families first moved in: broken doors, missing electrical wiring, contaminated water, and alleys filled with knee-deep garbage. Understanding how communities create their homes in what can only be described as harsh and violent built environments led us to spend considerable time learning about the people, their social contracts, and their cultural histories. Over countless cups of chai and loads of biryani, we built trust and forged meaningful relationships. Biryani is like pilaf. And learning from the community to hold on to what is good became an important lesson in continuing to see the potential for growth and transformation despite their circumstances. It is through nurturing these relationships where the framing of the issues begin and ideas emerge, where solutions more often than not surprise you, producing impact that you probably did not expect. And then we might fail. Actually, we did fail. It almost becomes necessary that you do, because in continuing the relationship with these communities, despite the failures, allows us to leap forward for more significant transformations, is what we have seen in our experience. This is one of those many incredible moments that emerge as a result of the relationships we have forged with the community. This was taken during a design charrette. This young boy was arguing with the rest of the group, with the youth and children, as to why a specific location needs to be the most active. The other group members said, no, all the drug addicts and people who cause a lot of problems hang out there. And he convinced them and said, this should be the most active space, because then we can reclaim it. These are insights and ideas that I think if we kind of looked at it from the outside, just in terms of its physical realm, I wouldn't have made that choice, because is it easy to go and sort of rebuild in places that are more violent than what's already there in the neighborhood? Maybe not, but the community was able to succeed. Taking an approach of deep scaling over wide scaling, choosing critical connections over critical mass, guided all of us to effect sustained change, not only in the form of physical transformations, but social and cultural ones too. These transformations offered unique opportunity for the community to reframe their relationship with the city. What has always been a contentious one, with regular trips to the municipality with complaints about electricity, issues, water contamination issues, and it was always the blame game as to who is at fault. Now, these creative endeavors helped renew connections between the community and the city officers, where the residents started engaging with them to get permits and participation in revitalizing and reimagining their neighborhood, one street, one wall, one space at a time. This is not to say that all major infrastructural issues have been resolved, but the positive interactions have created for a space between the marginalized families and the city to collectively find workable solutions. Now, one of the most significant outcomes in the recent past, based on our deep connection with the community, was the Govandi Arts Festival. It was a year-long initiative that culminated in a vibrant spectacle where residents claimed their space within the city, giving them the agency over their own narrative and how they represented themselves to the outside world. Supported by the British Arts Council, the community successfully collaborated with international artists, organizing the first ever art parade that was not rooted in politics or religion, which is a pretty big one for a country like ours. That's just a few more visuals. We had artists from throughout Mumbai come and work in the community for a year. The art parade. As a result of this effort and years of work, that has been going into transforming this neighborhood, the community successfully reclaimed the only available open space, which is about 25,000 square feet, where the Arts Festival was hosted, which is now slated to be developed into a garden. This led to a major breakthrough. In addition to using this as a garden space, the community has been able to negotiate a complete infrastructure overhaul with the city officers. And if this succeeds, and I'm going to say when this succeeds, it's going to create a major policy shift for other remaining resettlement neighborhoods in Mumbai. The shaping and nurturing of spaces is akin to relationships. You cannot just outsource them. Of course, we do this in the affluent world where you hire maintenance companies to come and take care of your spaces, but that's problematic too because it's caused great detachment from the city and the places that we live in. Keeping in step with the community and other related stakeholders is key to ensure long-term care for the spaces we co-create. For example, this open space, it became a point of controversy because the residents living in these buildings facing the open area were using it at their will. It took a long time to explain to them that this belongs to the whole community and that there would be a garden there. And one of the women who lives there, she took me there very proudly and said, "Look, we have planted a garden here." And she says, "We have planted it 12 feet from the building." And this was their way to co-opt the space. And she said, "You're going to make a garden anyway, so can we keep this area?" As an architect, it's fascinating how human beings engage with and own space, which continues to surprise me. And remember the news clips that I'd shared at the beginning of the presentation? This is the impact that the socio-cultural and spatial transformations has led in challenging the narrative of M East Ward. We had several journalists actually tell us that this was the first time that they were invited to cover something positive in this neighborhood. I'm reminded of Sergio Fajardo's idea for building equitable spaces for all. He says, "Our most beautiful buildings must be in our poorest areas." We're continuing our journey where the community now feels ready to take leaps, and I would like to share what comes next and a call to action because we are looking for collaborators and supporters. We are launching a program called the Under One Sky. The library space that you saw has been so successful. We are building 3 more similar spaces where it's going to be a safe space for creating, for design, for self-discovery, and just where kids can just be kids. And it's also women-requested spaces for themselves after they saw the library. The next one, which I'm pretty excited about because I just got the email this morning that this is funded. It's greening the community commons. So this is basically in order to foster collective responsibility towards climate issues. And in terms of the spaces that you saw in the earlier slides, we want to create pockets of green, use integrated approach to design to ensure that the large open space facilitates better water drainage and avoid flooding. And finally, we are looking at the next step to be to establish a design studio inside M Ward. Right now, we're kind of outside of that. And there's a lot of potential because the city now knows us very well, and there are several organizations, social organizations, doing phenomenal work. So we're hoping to bring all of that together and see what comes out of that process. To conclude, as a profession that evaluates its successes based on built artifacts that we create, I believe we must recognize the incredible potential of the impact that the process of designing and building could have on the people along the way, and what transformations might it create in the face of unprecedented, accelerated disasters. So the idea being that the built artifacts are going to get washed away, are going to get bombed, you name it, it's happening all over the world. So what we are left with are stories of community and care, which will become the basis of reimagining and rebuilding our societies, which, let's face it, we're going to be doing it over and over again if we do not change our unsustainable ways of living today. Thank you so much. Thanks. I can go right. Thank you.